My wife 26F cheated with my best friend 25M weeks after we all had our first experience with mushrooms and MDMA. Do I blame the drugs? Her? Him? All of it? Is this relationship salvageable? Backstory: my wife and I have been together for 7 years and married for 3. We've had an amazing relationship. We rarely fought. Had a great sex life and really enjoyed spending time together. That's why this situation is so shocking to me and all my friends and family, and I desperately need some insight from the Reddit community. I had been decent friends with this guy for over 15 years. Attended his wedding with my wife and they attended our wedding. They were a lot like us and we got along easily, so in the past couple months, we became best friends. The guy had recently gotten into exploring different types of psychedelic and methamphetamine drugs, mushrooms, MDMA. My wife and I had never tried them before and the guy wanted to share his experiences with us. So we decided to try mushrooms. It was a magical experience and an overall positive one. That said, during the experience, I noticed that the guy was holding my wife's hand on a brief period and that made me feel jealous. The next day, I expressed to the group my feelings and the guy explained that holding her hand was not a romantic gesture but that the drug allowed him to connect with her, and holding her hand was a way to demonstrate that he felt connected to her in that moment. I mentally wrestled with this concept but came around to his way of thinking because I saw this guy as my best friend, so I trusted him. I decided that I would see gestures such as touching and hand-holding as ways to connect to others without there being a sexual romantic undertone. The next experience we had was with MDMA, which was a magical experience as well for different reasons. That said, for the majority of the experience, I felt that the guy's attention was mainly on my wife, which made me feel excluded. I expressed the way I felt but my thoughts were dismissed under the reasoning that I had just not taken enough of the drug. I saw the guy as my best friend, so again, I trusted him. Another time, we tried mushrooms again. This time I had a better mentality about holding hands. Everything was going great. But at one point, the guy suggested that we all go to his bedroom to hang out on their bed. This made me feel uncomfortable as I felt like he could have an ulterior motive. That, coupled with worrying about my wife because she was having a bad trip, I began to have a panic attack. I ended up calming down by taking Xanax, melatonin, and taking some deep breaths. Then we somehow still ended up on their bed. I remember that the guy had deliberately chosen to lay behind my wife and not next to his. This caused me an immense amount of paranoia that made it so I couldn't go to sleep wondering what he might try to do. I eventually passed out, so I don't know what happened the rest of the night. A week later, my wife and I attended a friend's wedding where we had a conversation with a few friends. I brought up the concept of swinging as I got the vibe from this guy that he was trying to instigate that by bringing us all into his bed. My wife said it was all in my head, so I let it go. A week went by where we did other couple activities together. We went to a corn maze. We dressed up in couples costumes for Halloween. Then my wife and I celebrated our 7-year anniversary, which was wonderful. Then, I had to go out of town for a week for work. Monday, I wanted to Skype with my wife so she could witness giving a present to their baby. When we connected via Skype, I saw that my wife was there with only this guy. My wife said that they all went out to eat with his wife, but she had to go home after because she had work in the morning. I thought that was a little weird that he decided to hang out alone with her, but because I saw him as my best friend, I trusted him. For the rest of the week, I noticed that my wife stopped texting and calling me as much. She seemed like she had all of a sudden become busy. The night before my flight left to go back, I get a call from my wife. She said that she has something important to tell me. She tells me that she has feelings for this guy and that they made out several times and she felt guilty about it, so she wanted to tell me. She told me that she didn't mean for it to happen but that it just did. Then she said she doesn't want this to be a one-time thing because she feels a stronger connection to him than me and that she wants to be with him. Naturally, I was blindsided by this as my wife and I have had a great relationship and there hasn't been anything I can think of that would make her want to leave. We had talked about how I wanted to have kids and that she didn't know if she wanted to. But I had told her that we could wait. Anyway, I used all might to convey to her how much I loved her and that I didn't want to leave. I told her that being with a person in the beginning can feel new and exciting but can blind you to whether or not that person is actually compatible with you. I also told her that marriage over time can lose the spark and that we have to work at our marriage to get the spark back. I told her a laundry list of ways we could do so and practically bared my soul in the process. About 30 minutes into the phone call, I tell her to get on Skype because I needed to see her saying these horrible things in person to believe it. When the video chat was turned on, that's when I realized that this guy was in my house with her. Listening to everything I said to her, which made me feel so violated because I told her things that I would never say in front of anyone else. I yelled at him to leave my apartment, but he refused to do so. I pleaded with my wife for her to reconsider, but her mind seemed to be already made up. She had planned this out ahead of time with this guy, and they had already told this guy's wife that they wanted to be together, and she had moved out of their house. So I told her, if this what you want, to say goodbye to our future. Say goodbye to our hopes and dreams of getting the house we had planned on getting together. Say goodbye to the family that we were one day going to raise. And say goodbye to me, your best friend. I hung up and began to have a panic attack. This was my wife and best friend that I have spent every day for the past 7 years together, telling me that she didn't want to be with me anymore. We had a really great marriage, so it didn't add up. Not only that, but this guy is extremely obese. My wife is 100 pounds and this guy is like 400 pounds, so it's not like he's more physically attractive than me. I told some friends in to meet me in my hotel because I needed support. They came and got me and helped me through this difficult time. I wasn't able to sleep that night, so I stayed up writing down all of things that I wanted to tell my wife so we could work on our marriage, how I could try to do more to make her feel special, and that we could attend a marriage counselor and work on trying to get the spark back when it feels like it's not there. The next morning, I called my wife and told her everything that I had written down the previous night. I begged her to consider the wonderful 7 years we've had together and that we could work on our marriage to have a future together. I really thought I was getting through to her as she told me that she'd think about it. So I got on a plane and flew back. When I arrived, I received a text message from my wife that she won't be at our apartment when I get home and that she has moved into this guy's house. I asked her if she spent the night there and said yes. Obviously, she had sex with him, and this instantly broke my heart. She told me that she knows that what she's doing is being selfish, but that she needs to do what she feels is going to make her feel happiest. Then she asked for a divorce and told me we'll work out the details later. I told her that she can't end our 7-year relationship over the phone, and that if she wants to do this, she is going to have to meet me in person and tell me. She agreed and met me at a Starbucks nearby. We chatted for a while and I tried to keep it as calm and as civil as possible, although there were outbursts of frustration and tears on my part. She told me again that the reason she wanted to be with this guy was because she felt that stronger connection to him. I told her that she felt that connection to him because of taking a drug, and reiterated how being with a new person in the beginning can feel new and exciting but can blind you to whether or not that person is actually compatible with you. And again, I also told her that marriage over time can lose the spark and that we have to work at our marriage to get the spark back. I told her a laundry list of ways we could do so and practically bared my soul in the process. I told her how much I loved her and that after 7 years of building a life together, that we should at least try for a week to see if we can make our marriage work for her. But alas, she was stubborn and had her mind made up. So we talked divorce details at a very high level and then parted ways. When I arrived at our apartment, the place was a mess. All of my wife's belongings were gone. All of our memories, pictures and anniversary gifts were randomly placed everywhere, staring at me in the face. She even left her wedding ring on the counter. And that's it, folks. That's how your marriage can get destroyed in a matter of a month. If I could have done anything differently, I would have never tried mushrooms in the first place. The only reason that I did is because I wanted my wife and I to have new experiences together so we could keep our relationship fresh and continue to be in love. I feel like if I had never encouraged us to do them, she would have never been in a comfortable state of mind where she would have intimately connected with this guy. I also regret trusting this guy. I feel like he had an ulterior motive the entire time we hung out to overstep his boundary and be intimate with my wife so that he could persuade her to leave me. I trusted him because he came off as a genuinely good person and we were the best of friends at the time. After everything is said and done, I want my wife to be happy. It's so hard to type this, but that means even if it's not with me. That said, I feel like this guy has manipulated her with drugs into this relationship and it's not real. I feel like she is going to wake up one day and realize the grave mistake she made by destroying the beautiful relationship we had together. My fear is by the time she realizes this, it will be too late as I will have moved on. Not to mention after she cheated on me with this guy. I'm not sure I could ever trust her again. My questions right now are, Do I blame the drugs for making her only think she's in love with this guy and it's all artificial and will eventually wear off? Or did the drug just allow her to be more open about what she really wants? Is it both? Is there something going on in this situation that I am missing that a Redditor could provide me insight with? Edit: after reaching out to friends on social media, I had several friends contact me about this guy to tell me that he has previously tried to convince another friend's wife to leave his husband. He has also previously cheated on his wife several times during his marriage. Knowing that he has a track record of this behavior, I am so mad that I ever allowed him to be near my wife. That said, I know I also must hold my wife accountable for her actions. It just breaks my heart and wish we would work on our marriage and restore the trust that is lost now. Too long didn't read: wife cheated and left me after having new drug experiences. I am not sure if the drugs are to blame or if she is, or both. Look man, before I had a kid, I liked my drugs. Molly, shrooms, acid, weed. The usual. I just wanna party drugs. I've also been with my husband since I was 18. We've done a lot of those together and apart. I have never cheated on him. Not sober or stoned. Because of a connection from the drugs. Yeah. You might feel like they're on your level and everything is meshing beautifully, shit that only makes sense when you're high, but it's not real life. And no matter how ducked up I've been, I always remembered I've got a boyfriend. Blame them. They betrayed your trust and she cheated on you. And they did it sober. So they knew it was wrong but didn't care because their momentary desire to bang was more important than your feelings. Dump her and get a new best friend. They're both terrible for you. I always remembered I've got a boyfriend. I love the story about the drunk, half-asleep husband trying to fight off his wife. She was helping him take his pants off to get ready for bed and he kept saying he had a wife and didn't want to cheat on her. Most drugs amplify what's already inside. That's why you should only drink when you feel good. It's an emotional amp. There's a good possibility she will come running back to you if things with the big guy start going sour. Don't take her back if that happens. Your marriage is over and this woman sounds awful. If she was so quick to leave you, she is not worth the trouble. And you can definitely do better. Divorce is in your best interest at this point. From an outsider's perspective, it does appear that way. She was an amazing person during the 7 years we were together. What she's done and what she's doing now is completely uncharacteristic of her. But you're right. It's over. There's no going back now. The only thing that the drugs could have done is made her more open to any feelings she might have already had for this other guy but was too afraid to let in. But drugs don't create new feelings. They often amplify what is already there and they allow you to explore already present feelings and thoughts. This makes sense to me. And I feel like if she had come to me and told me she had these feelings instead of cheating on me and leaving me, we possibly could have come to an arrangement, but she chose to go the deceitful route and completely throw away our entire future together. So many questions. How is this guy your best friend after only a month? He seems like a skeezy drink spiking asshole. How did you allow yourself to be walked over so much and deny your very real feelings and worries? Your wife is in the wrong here. Obviously. But you definitely need some backbone and boundaries for what is coming up next. Focus on yourself. Hit the gym. And get the best family law lawyer you can find and find out if you are owed any future earnings or need to protect yourself. And never ever take her back. She is going to realize pretty soon that Shaggy Doo is just using her for the lulz and want some stability back. Do not give IT to her. Your ex-wife sucks. I edited the story to address your confusion. I've been decent friends with him for 15 years. We attended each other's weddings. I moved away for a job a few years ago. We moved back a couple months ago and we became best friends with them as couples. I had never tried these drugs before, so I didn't know if I had a reason to be concerned, worried, or if this was all normal drug behavior. Hit like. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to our channel.